everybody, Max here. Today I'm going to show you some basics of everybody's golf. I had some people requesting this. They seemed to like the game, but when they got into it they found it kind of a little bit difficult to operate in some areas, especially those not really familiar with golf. So my whole purpose of this video is to basically help those people get started, and hopefully it'll make their golfing experience a much better one. So sit back and I hope you enjoy this video. Alright everybody, so for this demonstration, this video today, I've chosen the number 3 hole par 5 on the single player tournament mode. This is where you play against computer. It's not online, it's just simply single player, and it's how you progress and rank your player up. And to be quite honest, it's more how you practice so you can play online against other people, or just make your player better to play in tournaments and rank up, and if you're not interested in the online feature. So I'm going to kind of go around the horn here, around the screen, starting at the left and phasing on around to the right to kind of give you just an idea of what's going on. For those of you who don't really follow golf, don't really know a lot of the clubs and so on and so forth, I'm going to really give you some good instruction here on how to set off to have a really good golf round. Okay, so first off, start up in here in the left-hand corner. It shows max, shows me, picture my icon, it says -2. That means I'm 2 under so far for the course. My first 2 holes, hole number 1 and 2, I shot a birdie, which is 1 under par. So I'm -2. Then if you notice where it says 1W, just to the left, or to the right of that, excuse me, that shows a power of 6, control of 0, backspin and backdoor is 0. The power, this is where I have leveled up in those different areas. And the power being 6, that means that I've hit the ball consistently harder each time. And how you actually rank up on that is when you hit the ball with power, and then you come all the way back and hit that white line down there on the power line. If you hit that white line, your ball's going to go more true and it's going to go further. The more often you do that, the more that you're going to rank up. You're going to be able to hit the ball further, so on and so forth. So let's take a look at the club. Okay, the lower left-hand corner, it says a 1W. That's for one wood, or that's your driver. Now, the driver I've got there, I can drive 220 yards. That's kind of how I built it up. I think when it first started, it was about a 200-yard driver, but I've built it up to power of 6, so it drives about 200 yards. Now I can change that if I want. I hit square, and if you notice, it changes to 230 yards. The problem with this is, yes, it's going to give me a little bit more distance, but it's going to be harder to hit that white line, and if you miss that white line coming back down, your ball is either going to slice or you're going to hook it more. The hook and slice is going to be more drastic. So you kind of gain power, but you give up a little bit of control. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to beef it up, and I'm going to give it the power here at 230. Now it says I'm remaining 397 right above it. That's the number of yards to the pin, or in other words, the flag or your hole. Okay. Now let's go down to the line down below, your power line, where it says take a shot X. And then in the middle, 115 yards, and all the way to the end, 230 yards, which, of course, if you hit it to the 50% mark, that correlates with 115 yards, and 100% correlates to the 230 yards. Okay, that's pretty simple. But you notice the jagged line above it. That's actually the lie of your fairway. So you notice that, like, a little past the 115-yard mark kind of goes up a little bit. Okay, that means you're going to hit on a hill. But if you notice past that, it goes back down. The line goes down towards a 230. So if you hit close to that 230, you're going to be hitting on the downside, or the down slope of your fairway. So in other words, the ball, when it hits, it's going to bounce and roll even further. All right. So let's go to where it says the 2 circles on the right. The first circle where it says raise camera, lower camera, and change direction. You can change direction simply by, if you look out in front of us where it says 230 in the pink, straight out in front of max, you'll notice a yellow triangle pointing to the ground. You can simply change direction, and that's where your ball's going to go. Now you can see it there, but you can't really, you can see the triangle, but you can't really tell where it's going to hit on the ground. This is where the camera comes into play. You can raise your camera and get a better bird's eye view of the course before you. All right. Now also, by using the triangle, you can say camera forward. And now you can really get even a closer look. All right. You can lower your camera down a little bit, get a closer look. Now you notice the really cool thing is a green grid comes into view. That grid is actually grid lines to show you how that fairway lays. Okay, so the closer or the left of your triangle there is your sand traps, and you notice it's kind of uphill. But where the triangle is, you kind of notice it rolls kind of downhill a little bit there to the right. As it fades off to the right, it rolls downhill. And if you go further upper right to the grid, it's kind of an uphill pitch. Okay, so it's just basically how the ground undulates or how it lays, how it rolls, which can help you place your ball in for further shots. Going on down, you can say, well, I want it to go downhill, I want it to go up, whatever you want to do. And so this kind of also gives you a little bit more information on how your ball is going to react when it hits, so on and so forth. All right, now I'm gonna put it about right here. I want it to be kind of in the middle. That gives me a little bit of leeway as far as whether I slice it or hook it. Okay, so I'm not either going to go way over here if I hook it and possibly in the water, and I'm not going to go way over here out of bounds on this other side. So I'm going to put it about right in the middle. It makes sense because also ultimately you got to be in a good position for your green shot coming up. So you want to kind of get it right out here. You don't want to be hemmed in by trees and stuff. So I'm going to put it right in the middle. Now you notice in the upper right hand corner of your screen, it shows 3.0 M and a blue arrow pointing towards you. That's telling you that the wind is blowing at you at 3.1, now 3.2 miles an hour. So you got a little bit of a headwind. 3 miles an hour is not that excessive. It's not going to affect the ball that much, but it will have an effect a little bit on the ball. Okay, but just kind of keep in mind how the wind's blowing towards you, because sometimes if that wind's 10, 12, 16 miles an hour, it can really affect the flight of the ball. All right, so I'm going to hit X now to reset the camera, so I know exactly where I want it to, where I want the ball to land. I'm going to hit X, and now I'm ready to take my shot. Okay, so I'm going to take a full swing and then all the way back to the white line. And if I hit it right on that white line, it should come up with saying something like great shot, terrific shot, something on that, because it means I've hit it square on, I've hit it right on the nose, and I'm not going to hook or slice it. So here we go. Just a little bit. Nice shot. Didn't quite hit it totally, but I didn't do too bad either. So notice the ball's going to roll and probably pitch down just a little bit to, get a little bit of a roll there to the left. Okay. So here I am now. I'm 179 yards from the pin, and I've got my 179 yards, excuse me, is where my this shot would take me if I used my wood. I'm actually 239 yards from the hole. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to say, well, where in the heck is the hole at? Ah, there it is. So you see the green and is over there. So I'm still going to be one fairway shot to another. And I am going to move my camera forward here to kind of get an idea of, okay, where would it be if I shot right now? Where would that ball land? Now you notice, again, checking my wind direction in the upper right-hand corner. Now I've got a crosswind blowing 208 from right to left. So that ball could actually be pushed a little bit to the left. So I don't want to hit it here, because if that wind pushes it, it'll push it right over here in the dark green area, or what's referred to as the rough. So I'm going to kind of go up here. Now you're also playing the deadly game of, well, I'm using a driver or a 3-wood. So if I use a 3-wood and that ball has a low trajectory and hits that fairway, it could bounce, right over in here in the grassy area somewhere. So kind of want to decide how far to the right I should really put it. So I'm going to put it about right here with that 3.1 mile an hour right to left crosswind. That should just about do me. Okay, so put it down there, and now I'm going to take my shot. Now notice the lie of the land again. If you go from where the X is across the power bar up there, the way that line moves, and if you notice out by around the 179 mark, it's pretty flat land. So I shouldn't have a whole lot of problems with the ball rolling left, right, up, down, or anything like that. It should be a pretty straightaway bounce when that ball hits. So here we go. Okay. Okay, so not too bad. See, pretty good stable bounce there. Didn't really go one way or the other. And I'm in really good shot for my green. Okay, now there's 71.8 yards left to the green. And I'm going to go with the sand wedge. That's what the SW stands for on my club. So you notice over to the left, it says SW 76 yards. So if I hit this at max power, it'll go 76 yards. I'm 71.8 yards remaining to the pin. So my club will actually take me a little bit past it if I hit full strength. Once again, I want to kind of raise my camera and go toward the green. Now, if you notice, the green doesn't have a lot of really twisty, windy, I mean, it kind of pitches off. If you notice the grid, off to the right where the sand trap is, that the grid kind of rolls downhill. So you know if you're going to hit right around where those people are standing, the ball's going to hit, probably roll right down in the sand. So you want to try to avoid that. So I'm going to aim just a little bit to the right of the pin. And that's because I got a 3.1 mile an hour wind coming kind of right to left and back towards me, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shoot just a little bit past that pin, and I'm going to pull the marker there off a little bit to the right. I'm going to put it about right there. All right, now when I'm online like this at the level that I'm at right now, it's got like the tornado hole. So if I get anywhere close to it, it could actually suck the ball right in the hole. But there's other courses and stuff that just offer regular holes that's not the case. So this is just, I didn't pick it this way. It just came up with this tornado hole, so it is what it is. But this is where I'm going to go ahead and place my marker for my ball to hit. Now, you notice this time, before I hit, you notice right above the power line, there's the kind of the line that shows how your fairway and then ultimately your green lies. And notice the green, once again, it's pretty flat. But notice the flag, the little red flag just before you get to the 100% mark. Okay, what that is now, if you hit that ball all the way to the end of that bar, then you're actually giving the club, you're actually shooting it with more power than is needed to get to the flag. Okay? So that comes in important because it's not always that you just come up and say, hey, I just want to hit to the flag. In this case, I got a little bit of a wind coming back at me, so I may want to give it just a little bit of extra boost past that flag, but not much. Okay? Sometimes if the wind is blowing from your back towards the green, you may not want to hit it all the way to the flag. You may want to come up a little bit short of that flag because you got the wind behind you pushing the ball. Okay, so I'm going to try to hit that flag or just a little bit beyond, but not all the way to the 100% mark. And we're going to see how this ball lands, okay? Here we go. All right, pretty much where I wanted to. And let's see what happens. All right, so got pretty close. All right, so now you notice it said sandwich there real quick, and it came up with a little, give me a little bit of experience points per se for that club. And the more experience, the better shots I do with the sand wedge, the more that your ranking for that sand wedge or your power level or whatever, the ability to use that club, the more it goes up, and then the better ultimately your golfer will be with it. So now we're on the green, okay? You notice that you have your grid when you're on the green. Okay, you have two sets of lines. You have the lines going basically vertically away from you, and there's hardly any movement. See those little jagged lines? There's a little bit of movement coming towards you, real slow towards you. That means that the green is kind of facing back towards you. In other words, the ball's not going to roll exactly level. You're kind of putting uphill a little bit, all right? Which makes sense because if you look at the flag, see the line right above the power bar where the flag is? You notice it's a slight incline towards that flag. So it makes perfect sense. It's coming back towards you. So that means you're going to have to hit with a little bit more power to get the ball to it. But the important thing in this particular case where the ball lies, you notice the horizontal lines, how the little white dashes are moving kind of rapidly from left to right. That means that your green lies that way. It's got a slope that slopes away from the hole from left to right. So right now, as I'm kind of lined up towards it, now I do have, once again, I got the tornado on the hole, so it's going to suck me in the hole anyway. But let's say that tornado's not there. This is really, really important, the further away you are from the hole, to really pay attention to this, because sometimes you have to hit a ball that on your putt is going to curve a tremendous amount to get into that hole. So we're just going to kind of move the marker a little bit. We're going to adjust it, okay? Kind of adjust for that slope from left to right. And I'm about right there, so the ball kind of should curve just a little bit left to right, and I'm going to hit it just a little bit past that flag. Okay, and try to hit it straight on. There you go. So there's a birdie, which of course is 1 under. All right, for the hole. So now I'm going to choose one. I'm going to go one more hole, but this time I'm not going to go through all of the verbal cues and everything. I'm just going to kind of a couple little reminders, and I'm going to hit the ball, and we'll see how this plays out. All right, so I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go ahead and tee my guy. I'm going to wait for these people to get done shooting and get out of the way and everything so you can kind of focus. Okay, so a few key things here. Once again, notice left-hand side, 1 wood, 220 yards, but I'm 365 to the green. So I'm going to go ahead and change it using my square button. Again, I'm going to change it to 230, kind of give me a little bit of boost. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to look at where the fairway lies. Notice I got in the upper right hand corner, I got 2.9 mile an hour crosswind going from left to right. Okay, so I'm going to adjust my marker just a little bit. Okay, kind of take into account that wind. I'm going to put it about right there, and we're going to see how this turns out. Notice it's uphill. Once again, you got the meter grid down below, the meter bar, and you got the little line going kind of uphill. So as I get closer to that 230 mark, it slopes uphill. So therefore, you're not probably going to get a bounce, and you're not going to get a really hard bounce and roll out of this. You're going to hit, probably bounce a couple times and kind of stick. It's not really going to roll that far. But here we go.
Nice shot. Very good.
There. Notice it didn't really bounce and roll anywhere. Okay, that's because when it hit, it's kind of going uphill. So now we're going to see where we're at in relation to the green. Okay, so there we are. All right, so I've got a 4-iron, which goes 146 yards, or 156 yards, 156 yards, and there's 153 yards to the pin, or to the hole. So it's about right where it needs to be, and I got a 2.5 mile an hour headwind coming at me, which is really not that significant, so it shouldn't really affect the ball that much. Okay, so we're just going to kind of keep it right where it's at. All right, and notice here, if you look at your line above the power meter, it goes sloping downhill. So from where you're at, your pin is actually downhill from where you're at. Okay, and the green right by the flag is relatively level. So here we go. We're going to see how this shot lines out. I shouldn't need to change my club, so I'm just going to leave it right there. It's probably going to come up just a wee bit short, but we'll see. Oh, see, now lucky for me, the tornado hole sucked the ball in, and normally that would have just came to rest about 2 feet or so to the left of the pin, and it would have been an easy putt. But given the tornado hole, it went ahead and pulled it for an eagle, which is 2 under. So anyway, I hope this helps you out. I've had a lot of questions on, how do you know how to hit the ball? What do the lines mean? All that kind of thing. So I hope that kind of helps you out a little bit. Please, once again, give me any suggestions, feedback. You can message me. Once again, you can even add me on PlayStation if you want. And I will try to do a series of tutorials or whatever you're asking for. I will do another tutorial on this particular game, and it'll probably be regarding the online features, so look for that coming up. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks very much. Alright everybody, that was a video, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. Be looking forward to future installments on Golf Basics as I get into a little bit more of the online play and some other features of this game. It seems to be people want to know a little bit more about it. Once again, thanks for watching, and have a great day.